Hey guys, what's going on? It's Colin here again, back with another part to the 1939 Briggs and Stratton Model B series. And I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, this video is kind of all over the place and I completely forgot to record an intro. So I'm recording one after the fact here, but basically I started off with just a time-lapse continuation from the second part, and then things kind of got a little sloppy from there as I started running into issues and just trying to fix them without filming. So you'll see this video is a little bit choppy towards the end, but hopefully it's enjoyable anyways. I just kind of wanted to get this thing done and get the video series out for you guys. I didn't want to leave you hanging. So I figured I'd put it up anyways. But anyways, let's dive right in with the time lapse and we'll see how this thing comes out. Alright guys, sorry if this video is a bit choppy, but it's been several weeks since I recorded the last clip. I believe the last clip you guys saw was me dealing with the spark plug. I could be wrong here, so forgive me if you're seeing stuff twice. But the spark plug that was in this head was stupid stuck on there. I mean, it was ridiculous. It actually wasn't a full spark plug, it was a chunk of one. I tried everything I could with what was there. The bolt part actually stripped out. So I said, okay, you know what, before I go and chisel this thing out, I'm going to try welding a bolt into it. So I welded a big-ass bolt into there. I had the whole thing orange hot, and then I doused it, I cooled it by spraying penetrant spray on there. The bolt sheared before the plug moved. That's how stuck this stupid thing was. So I ended up doing was, I cut it off to get the bolt out, and I ended up cutting it back too far. And then I had nothing to whack with the chisel. So I ended up taking a screwdriver and I punched in this way. And I was able to finally get something, like get a groove in there where I could pry on it and pop it loose. And I got it out, but in the process of driving back, I messed up the threads pretty bad, which I was exactly what I was scared of doing. So that leaked compression like crazy. But either way, I threw it back together. This is with my wooden dowel points plunger, because the original one disintegrated. And I had one of my friends over who's into engines, and we managed to get it going. And it ran pretty darn decently too once we got it going, but it took like 10 minutes of straight cranking on this thing to get it to go. It was not easy to start, and that plug leaked compression like crazy. So since then, I went ahead and got a real points plunger for it, threw that in, and I went to a sale. I picked up a whole bunch of engines, which you guys are going to see in the near future here, or some of them you may have already seen. But in there, I picked up 2 Briggs Model B parts engines. So I was able to get a good head off one, and then out of the 2, I'm also going to get a good gas tank bracket for this. And then what I'm going to try and do is, after I make this one good, I'm going to go and go ahead and try and build this other one that's over here. You can see that one over there is the one I stripped parts off of. This one here is a BR4 from I think 37. So with the parts between these two, after I make that one good, I'm going to try and build this one, but that will be a future video. Anyways, come back over to this thing. Got a new head, thought that was it. Still didn't boost compression that much. So I went ahead and I did a quick like redneck valve job by just running some sandpaper under and around there. That helped. I was again able to get it started with a hell of a lot of cranking, but it was not easy. So after that, I went ahead and took this carburetor apart again and completely went through it again. Made sure I really cleaned it out. That helped a little bit. And what I ended up finding was that it would start up fine if it was cold, but then if it was hot, forget about it. So that's usually in an ignition coil. And what I found was when it was hot and it wasn't starting, if I narrowed up the plug gap a lot, it would start. It would start real easily, but then it would run like crap. So I figured out that the ignition coil in this thing was not that good. Even though it would throw a spark, it wasn't that good. So I switched it out for one of the coils from the other engines, and it started right up. It ran fine. But then when it was hot, it wouldn't start up again. So this thing has been really kicking my butt, and I've been getting really pissed off at it. That's why this video has taken so long to get out, because I really want to finish this thing in this video, but I've been getting frustrated, so I've been taking steps away. Well, today's a snow day. As you can see, I finished clearing out the snow. You guys will probably have seen the video of me using the Gravely already. But I decided what I want to go ahead and do is I want to pull this stuff off. I want to pull the head off, and I want to properly lap the valves in. The only reason I didn't do it in the first place is because I didn't have a valve spring compressor, and I could not get the stupid springs out of the way to get the pins out of the keepers or whatever they are in there. I haven't even looked at it that closely. But I got a real valve spring and compressor, so when I pull the head, pull the valves out, lap those in properly. And I want to double check spark again, but hopefully that will boost our compression, and this thing will start easy. If that's the case, I'll go ahead and throw the gas tank bracket on it, and we'll have this just about done. I'll have to build a skid, but I don't think that's going to happen in this video. But that's what's been happening, so this is why this video is taking so long, and there's also might be a bit choppy because it's been all over the place. I've recorded many other video clips on this thing before this one, but I think I'm going to scrap them all. So that's where we stand. So I'm going to go ahead and throw you guys up on the tripod. We'll continue the time lapse, because I think I left off with a time lapse if I'm remembering correctly. And I'm going to pull all this crap off of here, get that off, get the head off, and we're going to pop those valves off. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so it has been an extremely long time since I shot the last clip of this video. This video has been dragging on for probably the better part of 2 months now, if not more. So forgive me if I'm about to repeat myself, but I finally got this damn engine running right, and I am beyond happy. This engine has been kicking my ass since about November. I took it in, and I figured it wouldn't be that big of a deal. It would just be the usual, clean the sludge out, you know, clean up the cylinder and get the piston free, rings free, and do the valves, and that would be it. But oh no, this decided to take like 4 months to get running. But damn, am I happy. So, this thing required a shitload of work. You'll have to excuse my language, but it's an appropriate use. I don't remember what the last clip that you guys saw. Maybe I was doing the valves, but I'll just run through everything. I got it here, pulled the entire thing apart, cleaned a ton of sludge out of the oil pan, got the oil pump working again, pulled the piston, cleaned up the rings, cleaned up the cylinder, threw the piston back in, threw the oil pump back together, put it back together, had to make a new gasket, cleaned out the carb 2 or 3 times. I had to undo an exhaust pipe that was super stuck in there. I ended up lapping in the valves. Had to get a gas tank and gas tank bracket, made a gas line. Ended up having to file the intake pipe flat again, and same with the carburetor. Made a new gasket for that as well. Came up with an exhaust system. Multiple spark plugs. Had to deal with this plug that was stuck in the head. Ended up having to get a new head for this thing. So the list goes on and on, guys, but I finally have it running right. Like, fingers crossed. It seems to be good tonight. Oh, and I dealt with a lot of ignition stuff too. Had to get a new points plunger. Ended up getting a new condenser, cleaning, gapping the points, and I also changed out the coil in this thing. So I've literally done basically every single thing you possibly can to an engine to this thing. But yeah, went ahead and I found the original gas tank bracket for it. This is something you definitely haven't seen. And I found this Wisconsin gas tank, and I made up a fuel line, and I think it looks pretty darn good. It's about as good as it's going to get until I can find an original gas tank cheap, but honestly I don't think anybody would really know the difference unless they're a real Briggs expert. But man, this thing actually has been running for like the last couple months, but it has been running like crap, and it's been very inconsistent. Started off with a bad ignition coil, I think. You know, it would run and then it would get hot and it would crap out and not run right. Then I figured out why. It was always really hard to start. I figured out it was sucking air through there because that was warped. And then more recently, it fired right up and it ran good, and then if you restarted it when it was hot, it ran like crap, and that ended up being a spark plug. But whew, it's finally running right, and I am very happy, as I've said. So I figure it's about time I throw you guys up on the tripod here, fire it up, show you guys it running, and we can finally conclude this video. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, let's see if she'll fire up. Got the pillow here just to kneel on, makes it a little more comfortable. Give it a little choke, hold the compression release. This is a hot start, which normally would make it easier to start, and this thing historically has made it harder. So let's see what happens. And there you go! She runs! Or not. Say it is dealing with some fuel supply issues. There is something a little wrong with my sediment hole on this thing. I think either the valve is a little screwed up or it's a little bit plugged up, but the fuel supply isn't exactly the greatest, so if it does misfire a little bit, it's probably because of that. But as you can hear, it's running, and it's running real smooth too, which makes me very happy. I'm not gonna lie, I've sat here listening to this thing run and just looking at it for the better part of the last half hour. Just with a beaming smile on my face. Because, I kid you not, I've literally been working on this thing since November. but there you go. She's finally a runner. I'm going to take you guys off the tripod and we'll do a little walk around. Give it a little gas here. Revs up pretty good. You can definitely hear though, it's a bit of a thumper, which I kind of like. I'm sure this thing would idle real low too, but honestly I don't really want to mess with it right now. I'm very happy where it is, I don't want to screw it up. But I'm also very happy with where it is. This is a very nice speed for it to just put along as it shows. A little dark for it to focus in on that, but there you go. There's the 1939 Briggs Model B crank start engine finally running. So, I think the only things left to do to this engine are to build it a nice skid, because this was just a temporary thing just to see it run, and I think it's earned having a nice skid built. But I think that's going to be something I'm going to do off camera. I think it's finally time to conclude this video. So anyways guys, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry it took so long to get out, but I really didn't want to make this a three-part thing. I just wanted the thing to be perfect by the end of part 2. So hopefully it was worth the wait. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you like what you see, please hit the little like and subscribe buttons. I'd appreciate that. By all means, leave a comment if you have one, and I'll see you in the next one. Time to go run this a little more. Alright, bye. How's that for a low idle? That is pretty darn slow.